Another find at a hamfest. Here's something else I saw on the free pile. And it really caught my eye because I saw this dial with a handle on it, obviously multi-rotating, and two others, which right to me said antenna tuner. You got two UHF connectors, so I'm assuming two capacitors and some type of an inductor. And since it's not a switch, it sounds like a roller inductor to me. So let's look inside. I took the screws out. Sure enough, looks like an antenna tuner to me. Here's the roller inductor. You've got a capacitor here and a capacitor here. Very dirty. There's a couple of toggle switches here. Nothing connected to those, so I don't know what those were for. Maybe they were going to have, although I wouldn't want to do this at a very high frequency. This looks like it was used for some lower frequencies. But anyway, what they probably were trying to do with these switches is maybe switch out sections of these caps, possibly, to change the bands. I'm going to remove those because, well, for one thing, this thing is filthy, so I want to put this in an ultrasonic cleaner. It won't fit on the panel, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove all the screws and knobs, pull the guts out, and I can fit this section in my ultrasonic cleaner and do a number on that. You can see this thing's pretty dirty. Needs to be cleaned. Nice roller inductor. I just like these. I don't know what kind of power this thing would take. I'm sure it would take a 100-watt transmitter pretty easy, and possibly more than that, probably. Looking at the spacing on these caps, yeah. So this might be a fun project after I clean it up. These jacks look pretty worn. They probably have to be replaced. Make bad contact. Anyway, I'm going to put it in the ultrasonic cleaner and then see what it looks like and then take some measurements. So that will be next. Here's the guts. Glad I didn't try to power this up. I had some broken connections here. Mainly the grounds on the UHF connectors and one of these connectors. This thing is filthy. Every single screw on here except for about 3 of them were cross-threaded, and it was a heck of a job to get them off. But anyway, as you can see, it needs a good bath. So the next step, it's going to the ultrasonic cleaner, and hopefully we'll see a nicer looking array of components when we get back. Well, they came out of their bath in the ultrasonic cleaner. Really cleaned them up nice. These things look like they're brand new. Everything is really looking good, so I think I'm just going to strip this down and start from scratch. Put new feed line on. I laid these out in the sun for a couple days and made sure I got all the water moisture out of it. I don't know who made this and when they made it. This could be many, many decades old. It looks like it's pretty old. Pretty nice parts though. I think it was originally a pi type circuit because both caps, the rotors are grounded, and and here's the rotor inductor in the middle here. I have to draw up a schematic of it. I don't think I'll use the original enclosure either, although I might. The clearance was kind of close on the grounded ends of these, and I don't know if I want to have these capacitors that close to the edge. I'll have to measure it and see. But anyway, these are pretty nice. These were probably came out of some kind of a surplus equipment years ago, who knows. But anyway, I think we'll be able to make a nice tuner out of this. So that will be what this project will entail. I mounted the components back on the original frame here because I want to do some testing on it. One of the main things I'm concerned about is the conduction of this pickup on the rotor inductor. So I'm measuring the resistance. You can see the meter back here. I'm measuring the resistance of the actual roller inductor, and I've noticed on this end there's a few places where the resistance, see if I can find it here. It's not too bad now. Originally I noticed, well, here's about a couple ohms. I imagine when I have RF running on here this shouldn't be a problem, but originally this was going up into like a K ohm, which is not good. So what I found was the roller here was really corroded, even though it went through the ultrasonic cleaner. So I used some silver polish on here. I believe this is silver plated, and that seems to be working now. So as I rotate, here you can watch the resistance. You see some little discrepancies, but really not that much. I don't think it's gonna be a big factor. And I also noticed here there's a little eccentricity in this roller here, and you can notice it when the pickup here moves up and down as this rotates. So that may be normal though, because if you look on here, this is spring loaded, and this spring pushes this bar down to make contact, and it's making pretty good contact here as you turn it. So I'm assuming that's normal. I guess I won't know till I take some measurements. So anyway, I'm going to clean this up a little more, polish this again, and then I'm going to take some measurements on this and see if the thing will actually work. So stand by for that. I've been playing around with the tuner here. This thing will not tune down below 40 meters. It won't tune 80 and 160. And I believe I don't have enough inductance here in this coil. I think I measured 0.1 to 17 microhenries, I believe I measured with it. So I've got it on the 40 meter band 7.18, and I have a 1K ohm resistor load on the output, and I'm able to match it here. So it's usable on the 40 meter band. Let's try the 30 meter band. So we'll go up to 10.1. Okay, in the 30 meter band, it'll match 1K, no problem there. Still a little high, about 1.1. Try the 20 meter band. Let's put it about maybe 14.28, something like that. Anywhere in there is fine. Well, at 20 meters with a 1K load, you can only get it down about 1.2. Let's try here's a 350 ohm load. Let's see if it'll tune that a little easier. I shouldn't say tune, I should say match. Let's see if that'll match a little better. That's a lot better. Till it falls asleep. This darn thing keeps falling asleep. Anyway, we got it down to 1 to 1. 350 ohms on 20 meters. Let's try 17 meters. About 18 point. About 18.1 maybe, around there. Yeah, we can match 18.1 megahertz with a 350 ohm load on it. Let's try 15 meters. Try 21, let's see, maybe 21.2, something like that maybe. How about 21.4 about? Yeah, tunes 15 meters quite well. Let's try 10 meters. About 28.5, we'll try that. Went to sleep again. Okay, 28.5, it seems to match that alright. So this thing is usable from 40 meters up to 10 meters. You might have noticed too, the resistance reading on here when I'm matching isn't right on 50 ohms. I'm questioning the accuracy of that meter, but then I read in the manual, it's kind of interesting. The manual for the MFJ 259 says if the SWR meter indicates 1 to 1 but the resistance meter reads other than 50 ohms, you are experiencing an instrument error. Doesn't give me a lot of confidence. So what I'm going to do, normally I use the Nano VNA, but that's a little slower. This thing I can tune it. The Nano VNA hits it every so many and every few seconds, whereas the SWR analyzer here, I can tune it and it varies. You can see here as I change it. So to get the reactance, I'll actually use the Nano VNA. Here's why the Nano VNA really outperforms these old MFJ analyzers. Here I'm in the 40 meter band. I'm centered on 7.25 megahertz with this marker here. And I can move this marker up and down. There's 7.4. I'm going to set it at the minimum here. So the SWR 1.04. The impedance is 51.5. I believe that's minus J 1.39 ohms. Now as I turn the controls here, watch how it moves here. And there's a delay. This thing updates every so many, like once every second I think it is. Now as I'm turning the inductor right now. You can see the curve moving up here. Turn it back. Anyway, you get the drift here. You can set up your markers I'm just looking at S11 VSWR here, and I'm scanning from 6.75 to 7.75 in the 40 meter band. So I'm kind of in the middle of the ham band here, 7.17 about. So let's see where the minimum is here. 1.1 at 7.24 megahertz. And I'm running Nano VNA server 0.7.3, and I'm sweeping it through that section of the ham bands there. The Nano VNA Saver software is pretty nice. It's a lot more versatile than this analyzer, but the analyzer is kind of nice too. I've had the SWR analyzer, the MFJ, for a long time. I don't tend to use it that much anymore. And this setup here is nice because it's pretty portable. The Panasonic Toughbook and the Nano VNA here I can take out. If I want to work on an antenna, I can run it off of the battery, so that's not a problem. The Nano VNA runs off of the USB on there. So I've tested this with different loads, and of course here's the output. I use these connectors, they're quite convenient. Here's the input here. And like I say, this was out of a junk pile at a hamfest. Someone had thrown it in the junk. Actually just needed a good cleaning up. I'm going to use the case that it came in. This thing I'm going to maybe use as like a little device portable I can take out with an antenna, or if I wanted to operate out in the field or something like that. I have another larger matching antenna matcher that I can use. Higher power, a little nicer than this one, has meters on it, but I thought this would be a fun project. So if you can pick this stuff up, 2 caps and a roller inductor, and you've got yourself an antenna matcher. So I'm going to put this back together. I was going to put a counter on here, but I think I'll leave that off. It's easy enough just to hook up an analyzer, set the match, and then hook up your transmitter. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.